everybody. This is Noelle from Petitti's, and Jason is here with me because we are at his raised beds. And we basically took you through a season of gardening in Jason's raised beds from start to finish last year, but really we hadn't quite finished because our last segment last year was about putting a green crop or a cover crop, or sometimes we call them green manures, on top of Jason's bed. So we're here to show you what you can do with the green manure in the spring. So basically, this is kind of interesting because we didn't have the worst winter.
Oh gosh, not at
ever.
All.
It was a very mild winter for us. We had 2 heavy snowfalls that were actually pretty nice because they insulated a lot of plant material. Jason, in fact, has some lettuce coming back and a few crops coming back. And you didn't really cover them last year, right?
I didn't
over
cover
the winter
them at all. So it was. I looked down my tatsoi, and 2 rows of lettuce actually are. I mean, they're granted 2-3 inches, but I went, that's
surprise! So mild winter, and what we did is we used winter wheat, which is very highly recommended as far as a green manure. The reason being is it will germinate very quickly in a bed, will grow, let's say 4 to 12 inches, just depending on when you do put it in your raised beds or in the garden. And then at that point, you just let it die back over the winter. And then come spring, what you do is it'll start to green up again, and you can weed whack it if it's real tall and leave the clippings there and turn them under. But in Jason's case, the winter wheat is not super tall. It really is only about 6 inches at its tallest point.
At the best.
Yeah. So needless to say, this is really doable by hand. So you can take literally a hand trowel, and just go through, and literally I'm just digging the clumps up and turning them under. And this is just, the soil feels wonderful. We also had an issue with that last video. We took a pH soil test, and it was very alkaline, more alkaline than what we thought it should be. Now, you can grow things like asparagus in, more of an alkaline soil, but really we wanted to get it back to neutral too. And I did bring the pH tester today, and we're back to where we need to be. So just slightly acidic. We're real close to neutral, just slightly acidic. But you added a lot of peat, and of course, peat moss gives you that kind of fluff in the raised beds too, but it also will help acidify the soil, which is what we needed.
Yeah, the pH in these beds was flirting between 8.5 plus, which is unusually high.
That's a lot.
And what I added besides the soil perfector is literally big compressed bales of sphagnum peat moss. And doing the soil test today, we actually found out that we were able to lower almost essentially 2 full pH points, which is huge.
Yeah. And
look how easy this turns.
Yeah. So right now, this is a delight to work in, right? With raised beds again, and we talked about this very early on last year, but raised beds are essentially just a very large container. They heat up very, very quickly, more so, of course, than gardening in soil. So you can kind of get a jump start on your gardening. And this year, it's been a very warm spring. And I know a lot of people want to get that kind of jump start. But on these warm days in April, you come out, you work the soil, you make sure that the soil is where it needs to be. If you didn't do a soil pH test, do one. Add the amendments now that you need, if you need more amendments, and then let the soil settle for a good 2 to 3 weeks. If you're concerned about weeds invading or blowing in or what have you, go ahead and put a weed barrier over it or a frost cloth over it so it's protected. And then when you're ready to plant, the soil is going to be warm and ready to go. And you can go ahead and you can direct sow seeds. You can plant your starter plants as soon as that soil has settled for about 2 weeks. And that's really the average point. So work on it while the weather's great, and let it settle. And when it's ready to, when we're really ready to plant, it's usually mid to late May, folks. So just keep that in mind. The soil will be ready and it'll be perfect for you to go. So we'll show you a little bit of green manure here. Enjoy.